After an impressive college career at Odessa College between 1987 and 1989, and UNLV between 1989 and 1991, during which time he led the Runnin Rebels to the NCAA championship in 1990, Larry Johnson was selected with the first pick in the 1991 NBA draft by the Hornets. As a rookie, Johnson averaged around 19 points and 11 rebounds, while compiling an impressive highlight reel on his way to taking home the 1992 NBA Rookie of the Year award. He soon became the face of Charlotte. Alongside Muggsy Bogues, Del Curry, and future Hall of Famer Alonzo Mourning, Johnson represented the Hornets at the height of their popularity in the early to mid-90s. For Johnson's first All-Star weekend in 1992, he came in second place in the slam dunk contest to Cedric Ceballos, which helped with his public image. For the 1993 All-Star Game, Johnson was voted in as a starter, which made him the first player in the history of the franchise to receive the honor. In October 1993, Johnson re-signed with Charlotte for what was, at the time, the most lucrative contract in NBA history, with a 12-year, $84 million deal. However, his career was soon hampered by injury. Still, he managed to adjust his game after losing his agility. Although he never recaptured his prime, Johnson was a key member of the 98-99 Knicks when they won the 1999 Eastern Conference. In October 2001, Johnson announced his early retirement from basketball due to chronic back problems that had plagued him for a number of years, closing out a career that was never fully realized, though was still legitimately impressive. Not that all his accomplishments were limited to the court, given that he was also a part of one of the greatest and most iconic ad campaigns that the NBA has ever seen.
I'm a power player. I gotta get home to the low post.
NBA champs.
Come on.
It's like clubbing baby seals.
Sometimes, the commercials during big games provide more entertainment than what's happening on the court, particularly when it comes to shoe adverts. Throughout the 90s, everything basketball was dominated by Michael Jordan, including the shoe market. So, when Larry Johnson was looking for a shoe deal, Converse knew that their marketing team had to come up with something fresh in order to land him. Just days before Johnson would be taken with the first pick in the 1991 draft, a number of shoe companies were eager to sign the promising young star. Converse were especially focused on signing Johnson to a deal, as the once dominant company was now struggling to corner a share in the shoe market due to the dominance of Nike. Converse had finally recognized that they needed to revitalize the company's image. So, new Vice President of Marketing, Joanna Jacobson, asked the company's ad agency, Houston Effler, to come up with something bold, as Converse wanted to use Johnson to showcase their new lightweight Aeroglide basketball shoes, and to prove that their new shoes were lighter and faster than their competitors. Previous Converse ad campaigns had been humorous, specifically their commercials starring Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. However, the company had always kept their commercials relatively safe, without ever trying something over the top. The closest they'd ever gotten was their rapping commercial.
The Converse weapon, that's the shoe that's Magic do what he was born to do.
You already know what you did for me.
What?
I walked away with the MVP.
So, by the time Converse were trying to sign Johnson, the company was willing to try something out there. Converse sent Pete Favat to Johnson's apartment in Dallas to show the player in person the campaigns the company intended to build around him if he agreed to an endorsement deal. Favat and his partner Rich Herstek were the ones who came up with the Grandmama concept. Not that that was the only idea that they had. In addition to what would become the iconic Grandmama campaign, there was the idea that would feature NBA legends Bird and Magic, given that the two future Hall of Famers had contracts with Converse at the time. The two were stars mad scientists. In an operating room, they would be working together to create the perfect basketball player. Once they had completed their task, as their creation lay on a gurney covered by a sheet, the two realized that they needed to name it. Understandably, Bird wanted to call the creature Larry, while Magic wanted to call it Johnson. The two would start bickering back and forth before Johnson suddenly, dramatically comes to life. Johnson loved the idea. Originally, he had wanted to sign with Nike, and had been holding off on agreeing to any other offers until he had an answer from the company. When Nike finally called shortly before his meeting with Converse, they were brutally honest, telling him that they wouldn't sign him because, despite his impressive college career, they were concerned that he wasn't going to be a star due to him being an undersized power forward. So, after hearing the Bird Magic concept, Johnson was eager to sign with Converse. It was then that Favat mentioned that they had another idea for a commercial. Favat knew that Grandmama was a solid idea. However, his biggest hurdle would be getting Johnson on board with wearing a dress, because without Johnson being willing to potentially make a fool of himself, the campaign would never make the leap from a storyboard to a TV screen. When Favat began his presentation to Johnson, he prefaced the pitch with an act of self-preservation. Favat then revealed a photo of jazz singer Ella Fitzgerald from a 1988 American Express print ad, which had her posing in a fancy hat, a knee-length dress, and vintage glasses. Favat explained that Converse wanted Johnson to dress up like Fitzgerald and have him destroy other NBA players while disguised as an old lady. Remarkably, Johnson was okay with the idea, though the meeting ended with Johnson agreeing to sign with Converse under the impression that they were going to go with the Bird Magic commercial. However, months after the original pitch, and after Johnson had signed a $1 million deal with the company, the proposed Bird Magic ad was scrapped. Reports differ as to why exactly the original concept was cancelled. One account, which seems the most unlikely, simply had either Bird or Magic, if not both, turning down the idea. Alternatively, in what is almost certainly historical revisionism, Converse claimed that they simply preferred the Grandmama idea right from the start because it was bold and had greater potential to lead to a multi-commercial campaign instead of just a one-off spot. In what is the most likely scenario, the Bird Magic commercial was cancelled due to circumstances, as Bird was struggling with injury at the time, while Magic had just announced that he was HIV positive. So, as brilliant as the concept was, the timing just wasn't right. When Converse called Johnson to inform him that they were going to go with the Grandmama campaign, he was surprised, and, understandably, at least a little wary. In order to find the right look for Johnson's alter ego, the Houston Effler team sifted through dozens of pictures of grandmothers. Specifically, with Johnson being from Texas, they wanted Grandmama to have a church lady look with southern charm and gentility. Ultimately, the main inspiration turned out to be the picture of Fitzgerald that Favat used during the initial presentation to Johnson. Grandmama's flamboyant pillbox hat and cat-eye glasses came from Fitzgerald's outfit in the American Express ad, while the teal flower print dress was the color of the Hornets because she'd want to show that she was proud of her grandson. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, the name Grandmama came about as a way to make Johnson's character's name more memorable.
These are my new shoes from Converse. They're so light and so fast, my grandmama can whoop you in them. Grandmama! Let's go. What? Shoot like you run like an old lady. Move it, Granny, move it! Remember, you can't beat what you can't catch. Okay, Granny, one-on-one, me and you. That was a lucky shot, Grandma.
At the height of the campaign, Grandmama was a full-fledged national phenomenon, while Johnson was one of the most popular players in the league. Beyond his Rookie of the Year award, Johnson made the All-Star team in 1993 and 1995. Yet, whenever people talked about him and his accomplishments, they typically referred to him not by his actual name or even his nickname LJ, but as Grandmama. The character resonated with fans both at home and on the road. The Grandmama campaign was so successful that it continued for 5 more years, consisting of numerous commercials, each more over the top than the last.
I'm back. I throw elbows. A lot. Step on your feet. I will hit you. I hold you. Basically, I work you till you die. Larry! One-on-one, me and you! I may look sweet on the outside, but remember, it's what's inside that counts. This is a story about 2 of the baddest men who ever put on little short pants. One day, they were surrounded by the Russians and the dreaded Italians. They quick put on their magical shoes from Converse and dissed them all big time. Then they snatched up all the gold and brought it home to Grandmama.
Is that true, Grandmama?
It will be, child. It will be.
Okay, Mr. Lambier. Look them over carefully. Take your time. Remember, they can't see you.
Wait! It's her! She stole the ball. I'm sure of it.
That's it, ladies. Thank you very much.
Okay, she beat me. She out-hustled me, she out-fought. And now she got new shoes from Converse with the React Juice. Granny moves this way, Juice reacts that way. Makes her stop and cut quicker than ever. I gotta come up with something fast.
Who wants to get a game?
Kevin, Have you met my grandmama? Yo, Kevin, you all right, man? Kevin. Then there was the time I dissed Kevin Johnson. Child, I practically knocked him into the past tense. Thing is, I had Converse shoes with React Juice. I move this way, Juice reacts that way. Makes you cut quicker and stop faster. They say Kevin is one of the quickest men in the NBA. I hope he heals quick, too.
Grandmama, one-on-one, me and you.
Uh-oh. Looks like I'm gonna need a rain check on my bikini wax, Louise. There was an old lady who lived in a shoe. A fresh little crib, you know, and brand spanking new. And that shoe let her do things that no man could do. She jukes and she cuts and stops dead in her tracks. She plants and she spins, leaving chumps on their backs. And who gets the credit? Some mother named Goose. Check you out, yo. Converse, of course. And that new React Juice.
Welcome to three-point land.
3-point land? I'm a power player. I gotta get home to the low post. You'll need these.
They're magical shoes from Converse with React Juice. They'll take you anywhere you want to go.
No one will be able to stop you. There's no place like home.
Ultimately, the character proved to be so popular that Johnson appeared on the TV series Family Matters in the 7th episode of the 5th season, entitled Grandmama, which first aired in November 1993. For the episode, Johnson performs in character when the show's own icon, Steve Urkel, needs a teammate for a basketball tournament. Additionally, the popularity of the campaign also increased public interest in Johnson himself, which led to a number of appearances in feature films. Johnson appeared as himself in the 1996 film Eddie, in which the Knicks' loudest fan ends up the team's coach. Also in 1996, Johnson appeared as himself in the film Space Jam. In the film, Johnson plays a supporting role as a fictionalized version of himself, as one of the NBA stars who has their basketball skills stolen.
Coach, you all right there? Yeah, I'm ready, Coach. Sure, all right.
Immediately upon entering the NBA, Johnson was an explosive talent. Unfortunately, the freakish athleticism and agility didn't last, as injury robbed him of his aggressive style of play that had made him such a fan favorite. Johnson compensated by developing an all-round game with an improved outside shot. Still, even with the popularity of the Grandmama campaign, there was little chance of Johnson and Converse beating Jordan in shoe sales, but they did try. Johnson and Converse put together a highly unusual but truly iconic ad series that further propelled Johnson's image into the public consciousness. Ultimately, although Johnson left the game too soon, luckily for fans, he left the game with numerous highlights and a series of memorable commercials centered around a truly iconic character.
Check you out, yo. That was a lucky shot, Grandma.